Mom, please tell me it's because you use natural glow and not a nude beach situation.
Create your own sunshine with flawless, natural-looking color. Jergens.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Only pay for what you need with customized car insurance from Liberty Mutual. Nothing rhymes with Liberty Mutual.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Baby, bye, bye, bye.
Lance Bass and Justin Timberlake are finally in sync again. It all started with this FaceTime prank Lance played on his bandmates.
Hey, Joey. Look, I cannot speak right now.
So, as you can see, JT didn't pick up.
Happening now.
The trial of Otis McCain continued this morning, but the defense resting right after one witness called. We'll have the latest coming up.
After trying to get inside her home in the middle of the night, a neighbor of a Birdie man who was shot by police recalls his terrifying last moments.
Sure, a more typical summertime pattern has settled into place, but we still do have a slight chance of rain. I'll be back to explain in a few minutes. The News at 5 starts right now. First at 5, weeks of emotional testimony and closing arguments now underway in the trial of Otis McCain.
Erica Hernandez has been following this case closely since day one. She joined us live from the Bexar County Courthouse. Erica, are we expecting a verdict today?
Well, Steve, as far as a verdict, that's still unsure, but we know the jury will be deliberating this evening after closing arguments. Now, those closing arguments began around 2:30 this afternoon after the defense only called one witness this morning, which was lead detective on the case, Mark Duke. The defense trying to make the case that Detective Marconi was not on duty during the shooting, which is the difference between a murder or capital murder charge. For more than an hour, we heard closing arguments. Here's a little bit of what both sides have had to say this afternoon.
You know, there's an old saying about a duck. If it walks like a duck, looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. He talks like a killer. Y'all all heard what he said on the confession. And then lastly, like the duck, he tells you, I'm a killer.
We have certain testimony that is, even though we do have video evidence, okay, but the way the state presented their case, they had witnesses that were contradicting themselves.
Now, this is day 11 of the trial. If a verdict is reached this evening, we'll have it live on KSAT 12 as well as KSAT.com. Reporting live from the Bexar County Courthouse, Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
All right, we'll stay on top of that possible verdict. Thank you, Erica. A civil warrant issued for State Representative Philip Cortez today after he left the state capitol a second time. That warrant signed by House Speaker Dade Phelan.
Cortez went back to D.C. yesterday to rejoin other state Democrats fighting to stop a voting bill from passing during a special session. That warrant, the first one issued after more than 50 House Democrats went to D.C. late last month. Last week, Cortez came back to Austin to engage in, quote, good faith dialogue, unquote, about House Bill 3. He left for D.C. again, though, yesterday and released this statement to KSAT today, saying, this past week, I attempted to work with Republican leadership to reach a resolution to HB 3. I owe a duty to my constituents to do everything I can to stop this harmful legislation. I will continue fighting for my constituents to ensure fair and full access to the ballot box. All Texans deserve nothing less, end quote.
In his own statement, House Speaker Phelan says, quote, Representative Cortez returned to the Texas Capitol on his own volition and represented to me and his fellow members that he wanted to work on policy and find solutions to bring his colleagues back to Texas. As a condition of being granted permission to temporarily leave the House floor, Representative Cortez promised his House colleagues that he would return. Instead, he fled the state and has irrevocably broken my trust and the trust of this chamber, end quote.
The warrant issued today may not have any impact, though, because Texas law enforcement lacks jurisdiction working outside of the state. Meantime, new at 5, a Bexar County grand jury indicting a retiring San Antonio police detective accused of pulling a gun on a man outside of a Home Depot last year. The issue regarding a lost phone. In September of last year, John Schiller was caught on video fighting with the man he believed had stolen his ex-wife's phone.
The video shows Schiller point a gun at the victim and push him to the ground. The victim says he found that phone on the street and spoke with the woman about returning it. Schiller charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. You can read the full story on KSAT.com.
Banging on the door, shooting his neighbor's door. A Rosebud resident recalls the terrifying final moments of a Bernie man shot by police last week. Cullen Condon was killed on a neighbor's porch by one of the officers who was responding to a 911 call about shots fired and someone trying to get into a home. Garrett Berger spoke to the neighbor who watched all of it unfold.
When Cullen Condon arrived at his neighbor's front porch in the early hours of July 22nd, she didn't know who it was, but he quickly let her know he was there.
They were banging frantically, screaming.
His neighbor, whom KSAT agreed not to identify, says she had heard 2 shots earlier in the night, which she says police later told her happened in Condon's own home. But she says she didn't hear the commotion across the street, where Condon reportedly shot at another house and tried to get in. With 5 children inside her own home, the neighbor says she grabbed her gun and called 911.
He was ringing the doorbell so aggressively. My children were screaming. I could hear them. My dogs were barking. I was crying.
At some point, she saw he had a gun, which she said he used too, shooting at her door and the wall, desperate, it appeared, to get inside to escape from what she believed must be hallucinations.
Because he was screaming, "Help me, they're gonna get me," and there was nobody in sight. His face was not, he just couldn't, he didn't seem there to me.
According to the neighbor, when police arrived, Condon stayed low, behind the bushes on her porch.
They were giving him instructions to which he kept ducking behind the bushes.
She watched intermittently out her window as police tried to get Condon to comply. The last time she saw him before the shooting, Condon was standing at the edge of the bushes, but she looked away before the final fatal moment.
I did not witness him point the gun at the police, no.
Police, though, say he did, prompting one officer to fire. And the neighbor says it's possible it happened while she wasn't looking. Whatever the case, she's heartbroken.
My heart grieves for the situation, possibly of what he was going through, that no one maybe knew or didn't.
In Bernie, Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
We are still working to learn the name of a 51-year-old man who died in a rollover crash last night. According to the San Antonio Police Department, the victim was killed around 10 o'clock along I-10 in De Zavala. They say the crash caused by a driver who tried crossing several lanes of I-10. That driver hit barrels in front of the victim's Nissan. The victim then crashed into the truck, causing both vehicles to roll. Police say the victim was not wearing a seatbelt, was thrown from his vehicle. He died at the hospital. 2 others in the victim's Nissan treated. They should be okay. No word on whether the driver who caused the crash will face charges.
A shooting involving 2 teenagers now being investigated. San Antonio police say a 15-year-old was shot in the chest last night outside of a home in the 1200 block of South Olive Street. Police are saying the victim and a 16-year-old suspect were apparently handling guns inside a car when one of those guns went off. It hit the victim in the shoulder. The victim taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay. As the summer surge in COVID cases continues, the White House says travel restrictions will remain in place, at least for now.
All the while, officials are doubling down on mask mandates, and there's growing calls for vaccine mandates in healthcare workers. ABC's Rena Roy has the story.
As the country desperately tries to fight its way forward, many Americans now facing some steps back when it comes to COVID-19 restrictions.
It is scary, especially when the numbers are getting worse. And so I definitely do think wearing masks would be a good thing.
Officials in Savannah, Georgia and St. Louis, Missouri joining Los Angeles and other areas across the country in mandating masks indoors regardless of vaccination status once again.
Masks have become a symbol of a political divide in our country, but they're not a bridge too far, as some might say. Rather, they put the virus in the slow lane and give us time to get more people vaccinated.
The Delta variant spreading fast, cases up 314% since mid-June. Nationwide, more than 27,000 people are hospitalized with the virus, most unvaccinated.
I'm worried that it's going to get much, much worse. Right now, we're generating about 50,000 Americans getting infected. That number could easily double or triple.
The American Medical and Nurses Associations teaming up with more than 50 other healthcare organizations to call for mandatory vaccinations amongst health healthcare workers. New York City's mayor announcing all city employees must be vaccinated or wear masks and get tested weekly, also urging private employers to require shots.
It's quite clear the Delta variant has changed the game. We need to move to stronger measures.
Similar rules also being implemented in California.
And it does appear more people are listening to those calls to get vaccinated. The White House and CDC reporting about 790,000 vaccinations nationwide over the weekend, possibly the biggest 24-hour period since early July. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
So how are the surge in cases playing out in San Antonio and Bexar County? Well, in a joint statement just a few minutes ago, Mayor Ron Nirenberg and Judge Nelson Wolff say, quote, "We are supportive of the efforts of New York and California. We will be reviewing the legalities and practicalities of requiring a COVID-19 vaccine and or weekly testing in conformity with CDC guidelines in order to protect the health and well-being of the city-county workforce," end quote.
All things considered, not a terrible day today. Bright sunshine out there. You can enjoy it guilt-free because the aquifer is in good shape and we are drought-free. And, we topped out at 94 degrees, which is 2 degrees below the average high. The record today, 106, set back in 1954. Right now, Del Rio, Warren's backyard, 101. Meanwhile, you get to Floresville, it's about 94, Lakey, 97. Most of us well into the 90s, but a little bit warmer some locations farther to the west. 100 right now in Utopia. Meanwhile, 92 in Seguin and near Lavernia, 94. As we go through the evening, pretty quiet. Not much of a breeze out there either. Southeasterly wind at about 2 to 6 miles per hour. Mostly clear. Some increasing humidity for some of us we'll notice through the night tonight. And despite a more typical summertime pattern now, we still have a chance of rain here and there. We're going to talk more about that coming up.
Thank you, Adam. Extreme weather still taking over the West. Americans are being hit with flash floods, wildfires, and deadly sandstorms. ABC's Morgan Norwood with the latest on the worsening conditions.
From fires to flooding, the weather emergency out west worsening. In central Utah, police say high winds kicked up a sandstorm on Interstate 15, causing this 20-car pileup, killing at least 7 people. In Arizona, a search underway for a teenager who was swept away by flash flooding. Authorities say 16-year-old Faith Moore had called 911 for help because her car was stranded in knee-high water. As first responders tried to rescue her, the teen was swept off of her car. Her grandfather, a retired fire chief, determined to bring her home.
We're not giving up, and we thank everyone for all of your support.
We want our sweet girl home, and we know she's coming home.
Farther south, authorities recovering the body of a 4-year-old girl who was swept by floodwaters late Thursday in the town of Pima. Rescuers pulling 5 family members to safety from their car, but the water pulled the vehicle away before they got to the little girl.
It's heartbreaking when something like this happens.
The flooding comes as the extreme drought fuels nearly 90 wildfires in 11 states. In Northern California, the state's largest fire, the Dixie Fire, exploding in size after merging with a smaller blaze. It's now burning in 2 counties, torching at least a dozen homes, but threatening as many as 10,000. And this fire in Montana, so destructive, Utah and California are sending resources despite the major fires burning in their own states. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Do you drive a pickup truck? Newer models are getting bigger each year, and with that comes increased risks, specifically with blind spots. The area you should focus on that's not in plain sight, coming up. You can't miss them on Texas roads and highways. Maybe you even have one, a pickup truck. And if you think they've gotten bigger over the years, you're right. And that may be increasing a hidden danger. 12 on your sides, Marilyn Moritz takes a look at blind spots right under your nose.
In Texas, pickup trucks rule. They're big and getting bigger. A Consumer Reports analysis of data from 2000 to 2018 found passenger trucks are 11% higher and 24% heavier. And that increased heft means poorer sight lines and bigger blind spots. And bigger trucks can have even bigger blind spots. See that orange cone out there? I can't, not from the seat of this pickup. And it's more than 8 feet away. And that, safety advocates say, increases the risk of hitting a child. KidsinCars.org found most fatalities in these kinds of crashes were toddlers. Data also showed a pickup's tall front and higher bumper are also more likely to cause serious injury upon impact than the bumper of a lower vehicle. And trucks are more likely to push a pedestrian down. Why have pickups grown so tall? Ford and GM said it's consumer preference, and that big trucks need larger grills to cool the engine when towing trailers. What can be done? Besides cameras, Consumer Reports says mandatory automatic emergency braking can help, along with designing roads that are safer for pedestrians and cyclists in the first place. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
All right, we have not hit triple digits. Am I still right in that?
You are correct, sir.
All right, just a few more days in July to see if we can escape the triple digits, but it is still warm out there.
It is warm, but most of the month has actually been a little below average temperature-wise. Of course, attributing that to the rainy pattern we had previously. Now we're back into more of a typical summertime pattern of bright sunshine, a little bit of haze in the sky, and warm conditions. Highs in the 90s, that's normal. Our average high is 96. But we still do have a little shot at rain here right around the corner, and then temperatures are probably going to start getting a little bit hotter here toward the end of the 7-day forecast. So let's get right to it. I want to start with our weather pattern and what I've been noticing and seeing out there. Obviously a lot of sunshine here, just a few fair weather clouds closer to the Gulf coastline, but there is an upper level swirl over the Gulf of Mexico. Not a big strong system, no threat of this turning into a tropical cyclone, but it is kick-starting some showers and thunderstorms right there in the smack dab center of the Gulf of Mexico. And you see those thunderstorms popping up. This, of course, is outside of radar range, so you're not going to see the greens, yellows, and oranges associated with precipitation, whereas closer to the coastline, we're hitting the tops of those thunderstorms. Anyway, this is causing some activity out there, and that weak upper level swirl is going to be heading westward. Now, I think most of the energy is going to stay to the south of us. Nonetheless, the big blue H is off to the north. It's not centered over us, so that keeps the door open for some disturbances over the next couple of days. Tomorrow, I give us about a 10% chance. I don't anticipate much developing. Again, most of the energy far south of us and even south of Brownsville with that system tomorrow. But a few more ripples in the upper level flow will be moving toward us. And once we get into Wednesday, by the afternoon, we could see a few showers and thunderstorms popping up here and there. Nothing too widespread, but isolated in nature. We've got it at about 20 to 30%. So most of us won't see it, but there is still a slight chance this week. It's a better week for folks who work outdoors and actually need to get some work done and get some progress made because it's more agreeable. You don't have the rain interrupting you. And we can enjoy it guilt-free with the lack of drought and the aquifer very healthy. 92 right now, dew point is 71, so it feels like we're at 99. Drier air just to the west of us, so Uvalde a dew point of 59. Rock Springs 45, Junction 47. You're not really feeling mugginess out there at all. In turn, temperatures are a little bit warmer. That drier air, it heats up more efficiently. So San Antonio 92, New Braunfels 94, but meanwhile 96 Uvalde and Del Rio right now at 101. And across the state, we have some other triple digits out there, Dallas to Junction to Laredo, but they're not just filling up the temperature map for us. The upper level high, that's up over the northern Rockies. So we're looking at the Dakotas, even parts of Idaho, well into the 90s and hitting 100 degrees. So they're rivaling us in terms of temperatures. As for tomorrow, we'll start the day at 75. By the noon hour, near 90 degrees, and then we're thinking mid-90s again. So just like today, making it to about 94 for the high temperature, and just that 10% chance tomorrow. By Wednesday, up to a 20% chance, similar temperatures, mid-70s in the morning, then about 94 by the afternoon. A very sunny pattern is going to really take hold Thursday through the weekend, and with that, we think we'll be back into the upper 90s, flirting with 100, but not yet there by the weekend and early next week.
Thank you, Adam. I don't think Greg Simmons is getting weather like this.
I don't think he is either. But there are some camp battles going on in Cowboys camp. But look where Greg is right now.
It's just so not fair.
Breezy, 63 degrees. And how many live reports can you do with your toes in the sand? We'll take our shot on a Monday afternoon here in Oxnard. When we come back, it's a battle at the battle for Blake Jarwin. Can he get a starting job back after being injured in the first game last season? And Texas and OU take the first step in leaving the Big 12. Coming up.
Camping with KSAT, powered by Davis Law Firm.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our live coverage of the Dallas Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, California. The players had the day off, so we've decided to head to the beach here in Oxnard. Not a bad way to start your weekend here on a Monday afternoon. Now, besides Dak and the O-line coming back from injury, so is tight end Blake Jarwin, who finds himself fighting for a starting job again after he's injured in the first game of the season.
A lot of emotions kind of rush through you right there, right? Like, I remember walking off the field and having a conversation with the doctor right there saying, hey, it's probably ACL, and getting to the locker room, and sure enough.
That was Blake Jarwin's first reaction when he went down in the first game of the season as Jason Witten's heir at tight end last season.
Man, it's tough, but, you can either sit on it and whine about it, or you can say, hey, let's move forward, let's get done with the surgery, and let's be the best I can be.
What made it easier for Blake, he was not alone when it came to spending his time rehabbing to get back onto the field.
We had a lot of guys in there, Tyron, LC, Zach, Dak, and then me. And man, you never really want that from all your offensive guys being down, but to have that kind of chemistry to be in there and to be grinding it out together, trying to get back on the field, I think it was awesome for us because when everybody else was at home, we were out there grinding together. And so it kind of, it all meant a lot to us and still obviously does.
Now Blake is spending his training camp fighting for the starting job against Dalton Schultz, who stepped in when he went down.
I got to give it credit to Schultz. He played incredible last year, and that's given me something to kind of chase because he's an amazing player. He's awesome to have in the room with, man. I can have a conversation with him about anything, off the field or on the field.
And get this, Jarwin is happy that Dalton has gotten better for the both of them.
It's awesome to kind of have a guy like that to compete with and, just to be motivated around.
All right. Texas and OU have made it official. They're leaving the Big 12 for the SEC. The Horns and the Sooners took that first step today, in fact, when they informed the Big 12 they would not be renewing their grant of rights agreement that covers the broadcast of football and basketball games when it expires in 2025. That's according to the Washington Post, which reports the buyout for both schools could be between $80 and $100 million. In fact, the Board of Regents for the Aggies are meeting right now as we speak. We'll have more on that coming up a little bit later on in this day. And also at the same time, there's some frustration from players expressed towards Greg Popovich at the Olympics. Got that for you coming up at 6. Live from California, Greg Simmons, KSAT 12 Sports.
All right, Greg, enjoy your beach time.
Say hi to the seagulls.
Yes, I will.
We'll be right back. An update on our top story. Both sides now resting their case in the Otis McCain murder trial. The jury now deliberating.
Yeah, Otis McCain accused of shooting and killing Detective Benjamin Marconi right outside of police headquarters downtown. This is a live picture from inside the courtroom. Closing arguments ended. They took up much of the day after the Otis McCain defense team called only one witness. It has been sent to the jury at this point, and we are assuming they're beginning deliberations.
We should have a verdict today, possibly, and we will bring it to you. And any updates, stay tuned here to KSAT 12.